If you are curious about energetic downloads, you're in the right place. This is the ZOLIART Montana podcast. My name is Linda, here with Zoli Althea Brown. Tell us, Zoli, what exactly is a download?
Well, my interpretation of it is you're sitting there minding your own business. All of a sudden, you're kind of out of it and you feel like you're hearing something, but it's not auditory. You may feel like you're seeing something, but it's not visual. You might feel that you're surrounded by an energy field. You cannot cognate what it is. That's because it is going through your inner senses. It's not through the five physical senses. That is what we use the inner senses for. But you are getting it, you think, from somewhere out here. That's so we try to connect it to the physical, and that doesn't work. So what we usually do is freeze a little bit, or we think, I'm getting something, I can't tell what it is. It can be frustrating, it can be, I need to go write that down. But the way that it shows up for me is it's a piece of creativity, and it's like an email. It's like it gets deposited inside of me and then it evolves on its own. It rolls out. You know those jelly rolls? You ever made a jelly roll? You know, I'm going to refer everything to food because I'm Southern. But a jelly roll, when you're making it, you roll it up. And that's what the download is to me. They're rolling everything up and then you unroll it at your own time or when time and space have met the right frequency for you to be able to use that information. Downloads are always for the purpose of you being able to use that to make life better, to be something of service. And to me, the downloads, and it's usually with my art because I might get an idea for it and it never turns out like I think it should. So I let go of that a long time ago. It has to be a piece that is going to reflect a feeling. And to me, a download is a feeling. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Can you describe the process using one of your pieces of artwork, if I can bring one up?
Sure.
Mm.
This is the piece about an adventure that I had that I think was an astral adventure. I was in this dream state living at the farm that I lived at for years, for 30 years. And I was standing outside on the deck with my friend that lived there with me. And he looked up, and I looked up to follow his gaze. And there was a gal on a steampunk motorcycle, steampunk gear, and it was puttering. It sounded like a um, lawnmower. It landed on the grass there. She took off her helmet, and she was a very masculine type woman, but she had a softness for her. And she said her name was Decus Azalis, whatever that was. So there's a lot of research I did with that name and what that meant. But what it had to do with this piece is it represented a going inside. As you can see, the energy field is blue. It's coming from the maybe exosphere, mesosphere, and is coming into the energy field of expression, which is fire. And then it goes into even closer the earth, the feeling that she came from somewhere else. She was giving me information to download, and it was blossoming. It was being born. What's interesting to me about all my art, when I was doing it, I didn't get that. I was just going on autopilot. When I do my art, I will usually sit in my chair in the great room. The TV will be on. I'll be binge watching Game of Thrones or something, just some background noise. My cat will be there, and I'm just drawn away. I don't ever know what it is. I just like the color. But this was very specific. I wanted to put her name in there. And that's what that piece was. And the download that she gave me about information relating my 30 years at the farm to where I am now in Montana, it took a couple months for that to come out. But there is no so-called time in the other realms, is there? We won't get into that because I'm not a physicist. But it has a reality here. Here and now is when you go, aha, I get it. Now I can use that information.
When you say on autopilot, does that mean you're creating the artwork, but you're not planning out what you're going to draw? You see the whole picture once it's complete.
Right. I'm very intuitive. If I have any skills at all, it's that I listen well. Spirit has always said to me, you listen well. They kind of ended at that. If there's other skills, I don't know what they are. I'm still working on it because if I say, well, I'm trying, they say, good, try harder. That's fine. So the autopilot is that I'm allowing it to come through. It's very sentient, it's very feeling, and I love color. Ray 4 is color. Ray 4 is the physical world manifested as color. As color comes through, you have color, you have sound, you have visibility, but the color is the expression on this plane to me of joy. I love color. And so in my art pieces, I like to create ideas of color that when you look at it, you're going to see movement. Almost every piece I do has the frequency sign in it to me, which is the swirling. It'll have an egg in it or a lizard. The lizard is fire. And I repeat these things over and over and over again. Maybe I'm not that smart, but I just keep repeating it. And so these are downloads I feel from what? My feeling nature, from spirit, from things that have been, things that are coming. I don't know. I just do them.
So where
I
do
just work
downloads
here.
come from?
Where does what come from?
Where do downloads come from?
Where do they not come from? It's part of the all that is. It's part of the everything that's not our mind. We think our mind's the most important thing next to our feelings, but it's not. The heart is what's important. How do we use the download to express love and divinity? Love isn't the emotional aspect, but it's the meditation and the giving aspect of it. So the download to me is an opportunity to try to shed some of this physicality. To me, the big enemies of this planet is gravity and emotion. But they're tools. We need them. It's not that we don't need them, but we have to use the tools. So I think the download is the opportunity, a little out of time and out of space, to go, here's a little piece of divinity. Let's see what you're going to do with it.
That's beautiful. Let's see if you can use that in another piece of your artwork here, uh, to keep talking on that. I wonder how
Oh,
our emotions are connected to the act of creating art.
this was a, yeah, this was a piece that when I did it, I just wanted to use those colors. And the little spikes at the end to me tickle. It's emotion. And you can see in the piece the continuous little olive kind of pieces that have something inside of them. To me, that is potential and it's emotion. And I use the leaf pattern a lot. So that's a very earthy piece. But I must have been in a feeling tone where I wanted those greens and blues, and I was feeling nurtured by that. And sometimes it's just that simple. Not everything has a great meaning to it. I do these to keep myself out of an insane asylum. It keeps me out of the bars, you know. And there are times like during the COVID years, when are we going to stop saying that? I think during those 2 months, I created probably 30 or 40 pieces. It was a manic time for me because I was able to have the time here to where I could bring into visualization what I felt was going on. I think a lot of people did that.
Yeah. So you're really putting emotion on the page in a way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, to me, it is. It's feeling an emotion to be able to feel the emotion without a coldness of detachment, but to be able to detach from the outcome of what this is going to be. I don't do something and know that it's going to turn out like I'm thinking about it. I might use patterns to create the circles. I might freehand it, but that's kind of it. Then I start getting feelings about what colors I want to bring in. And I like a lot of color. I joke and I say, America, 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 land of the free and home of the beige. We're just a little beige sometimes. We're like Diane Keaton in her movies, and she looks adorable. But I want color. I'm just one of those people.
I agree with that. I love the color in your artwork. And in ZOLIART altogether brings out the color and the vibrancy of life.
I like that. I guess that's why I'm doing it. I like people to be able to feel some joy, because joy is hope. And why do we not have hope? Because we feel like things aren't going to work out, either for us or other people. It's part of human nature. It's a cycle, it goes in and out. And I display that a lot in the art, the pattern of waveforms, frequency and waveforms and fields.
You recently had an experience download. I think it was the Terranauts. Can you talk to me a bit about more of that?
Oh, God, that was so crazy. I woke up one morning and I padded into I heard voices. I usually get up about between 6 and 7:30. I don't know, it was somewhere in there. I heard voices, and I thought, "Well, that's is the TV on?" I came into the great room, and there were 3 they call themselves Terranaut, as an astronaut. There were 3 people standing there, and they weren't that tall, maybe 5'7". I'm short, everybody's taller, but they weren't as tall as my husband, who's huge. And they had on these beautiful, elegant, kind of David Bowie looking star suits. And they had on a helmet and glasses. And one of them said, "Oh, good, you're up." And to me, this is just another day on Earth. I said, "Yeah, I'm up. What are you doing? What do you want?" And they started talking, but it wasn't a verbal talking. I could hear it in my head, and it was very quick. I went into the kitchen. I started making myself a cup of coffee. They were still standing there. They were talking, and they told me some 3 things that I needed to do with my friend, my brother from another mother, Ray Hernandez. Ray is the head of the Edgar Mitchell Foundation. He wrote 8 tomes last year. We're going to have him on. Check out his work, Ray Hernandez. Uh, there's a lot I could say about him, but I don't want to go too far into that. But they told me some things that I needed to do with him, for him, around his work, because we are all these little pieces. It's no longer individual. And these guys reminded me, one of them was my friend Billy. And I think I've told this story. This was years ago. In the kitchen, there's a little portal as you walk around. The window is here, and the eating bar is here as you walk around. A lot of traffic. There appears to be a little portal back there. I walked around that and I looked, and there was a man standing there. He had dark hair. He had on like a red shirt, and he had on big aviator glasses. And I realized I felt like I was an animal in a zoo, but it wasn't offensive. I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I'm just watching you live your life." Very loving. He stood there for a while, and I'm walking back and forth. The hair in the back of my neck is standing up. I thought, this is really crazy. This is crazy. And my gal friend who worked with ZOLIART at the time, she is a physical medium. She could see him also. So after about 20 minutes of me wandering around just living my life, he started to walk away. And when he moved, the energy field shifted. And I could see him reflected in the glass in the window. So I got my camera and I took a couple pictures of him, and I've got those. I think Ray has them, but I don't want to put those out yet. I don't want to be misused. As he walked away, he said, "I'm from Mars. I'm from the middle level in Mars, and my name, you can call me Billy." I said, "Billy?" And he said, "Yes, will. I am the willpower." Mars represents the Capricornian age of what we're moving into, which is using your willpower. I felt such love for him. I didn't want him to go. This is an old friend. I can't explain it. But that was one of the guys standing there. And once again, I didn't want him to go. It's like if you saw a child that you hadn't seen in years, it's lifetimes, and you recognize it. There was so much love there, so much wordless understanding. So after a few minutes, I sat down and wrote down what they wanted me to do. and they dissipated. Now, how does that happen? Were they in another frequency? It wasn't a dream state. Mars is 3 million years ahead of us. There are three levels of people on Mars. These are human beings, but they're no longer physical because they evolved out of it. We've made a lot of mistakes in this planet. But this planet in our solar system is the only one that has produced a Christ, the only one. So we are sacred ground, but we are not yet a sacred planet. Venus, Earth, Mars. So Mars is 3 million years ahead of it. The lower level of people on Mars, the lowest frequency, are a little below what Earth is, not as icky as Pluto, but they're working on it. The middle level is pretty much where we are. Then there's a higher level, a higher frequency, I might say, of people on Mars who are like masters, ascended masters. All of the ships in this solar system are made on Mars. That is what they do. They are made with thought, and they are bioengineered in the sense they're like conscious plants. When you see a ship in the sky, or when I would see Billy or whomever, they have dropped frequency. They have lowered their frequency enough to where you can perceive them. Physically, no. I'm a psychic medium, so I could see them etherically. But when a ship appears in the sky, and my friend Ray Hernandez can call the ships to see them, are they there all the time? Yeah, pretty much. These are busy cats. It's not they come to Earth to go, hello, I'm going to have a latte with you. These are busy people. They're people. They're cleaning up our environment. They're on mission. They're this and that. They're not here to hurt you. They've never not been here. They're not going to invade you. They're not going to land on the White House lawn. They are people like us. They are loving and they are kind and they're here for a reason. So a lot of my work reflects that potential of what we are moving into. And that is a higher energetic field of being able to access these higher realms. And that is what a download is. It's like getting a piece of candy if you're a kid. Oh, it's gonna be wonderful. That's what it's like.
Fascinating. How can you use these downloads for a higher purpose?
Well, you have to know enough about yourself to know what you can and cannot do. We are we are ruled by gravity here. We have to have gravity. It's a teacher. It keeps our feet on the ground. You have to have the different levels of the atmosphere. We have limitations. So, how do we use those downloads within the realm of limitations? You have to know yourself enough. That's why I keep harping on the thing that I think is the most important. Learn who you are, learn why you're here. What is your purpose? Are you special? Everybody is. If you want to be different, just be yourself because there's nobody like you. But it's an evolutionary thing. We can't just be that all of a sudden. We're not masters. We are evolutionary people. And as we evolve and as we find more of ourselves, we spiritualize matter. And that's what we're here to do, to serve. It's the only thing left to do. Meditation and prayer. Bring that energy in. Find what you need to help yourself and others, then put it out there in some way. That is a cycle that creates an engine. You see what I'm saying? Of you have it putting out, bringing in, put it out, bringing in, and you need to balance those two. Is it ever totally balanced? No, we're not good at that, but we have to try. So that's the second piece. If you're not good at it, keep trying. You think you can't do it, just keep trying. It is that effort that creates the change, not the success, but the effort itself.
Is your artwork, let's look at a piece of your artwork as an example of spiritualizing matter. I find that fascinating and I want to know more about, for example, this piece.
Oh yeah. This is a piece that I think what I was wanting to do is express a groundedness. Timid Noche, know thyself, to thine own self be true. This was one of my mother's mantras. Oh my God, just be yourself. Find out who you are and just be you. And I'd say, well, I don't know. How am I supposed to do that if I don't know who I am? And she would say, you have to try on all these different hats. You have to go through all these different paths. And I think the two brown globes on the end, those are all the different paths that we have to go through to find who we are. And we beat ourselves up and we compare ourselves with each other and with who we used to be. And oh my God, who are we going to be? That's just human nature. So what? Move past it. Try to get over it. But to know thyself, to be able to spiritualize matter, is something that we come here to do, because matter itself is just matter. It's physical. It doesn't have a spiritual aspect to it. But when you put that piece of divinity in it, and how do you do that? Well, figure it out. Figure it out on your own. Because anybody out there, you might have a really good method that you can help others. You might change the world in that way. You never know.
So, how can an individual raise their awareness about downloads?
Ask. Ask for help. I know I harp on this, but it's so true. We are surrounded with so much help. We are each surrounded with the guidance that we had. And I don't like the word guides because it's very new agey and rote to me. I prefer to say you are surrounded by love. You're surrounded by ancestors that have gone before you. You are surrounded by people of your soul group, about 1,000 people. Maybe 500-600 of you are in incarnation, maybe 400 or 500 are out and helping you. You also have your soul that lives within you. To access the soul, the more we go through lifetimes, the more we try, we evolve, you can access more of your soul. And the soul is a master on its own plane. And in theosophy, we like to say that the soul is the piece of divinity that lives inside ourselves. How do you find it? I don't think you do. I just don't think so. I think that we have to try to find what works. And it's not a one-hit wonder. We have to keep trying. This works this time. This works some other time. Adapt. Keep adapting. It's like the chameleon, the fire being that changes its colors all the time. We need to learn to adapt and try not to get stuck in the past and what works and what doesn't work. Find it and move on. And ask for help. You're surrounded with help. And you can probably help other people by not knowing about it. Be surprised.
Is there a way to practice listening for those that aren't used to listening?
Yeah. Practice. You just have to try. I know that sounds rote and it sounds a little ridiculous, but how do you try? Ask for help. Try this. This is fun. Say, okay, those who guard and guide me, who are my advisors, what is one next step I can do? You might get that through a book. I've had books fall off the bookshelf and land on my head. I mean, a lot of people have had things like that. You had that happen.
Did, yes.
Yeah, I was outside and I was driving once. This was in Nashville, and I kept asking the same question, over and over and over again. And I see a billboard right there, the same damn thing on it. Okay, how much do you need? Sometimes the answer in the answer. Sometimes that's not it. It's the fact that we are trying. And the fact of trying, you have an energy that you're putting out where you are a signal. And you're wanting more and more and more of this energy field to come into you, and you are putting one out too. So to say, to try to listen, ask for help. We don't do anything by ourselves. Never, ever, ever. We may think we do. We're supposed to feel alone to try things. We're supposed to take the test without the teacher standing there and going, well, there are the answers. Well, you're not really alone. You're in the classroom with 40 other people wondering what the hell is going on. But we have to play the silly game. And the silly game is all these emotional constructs that Earth offers, all the little players on the board. Now, the frustrating ones, the ones that we call evil, the ones that we call good, comfort, discomfort, all of the pieces make us who we are. but we can't use them all at once. So to ask Spirit, what is one thing to move forward? Just give me one at a time and you'll get it. You may not like it, and it may not come when you think it will, but it will come. It will come.
Do you think these intel downloads are increasing globally?
I have no idea. I think our ability to access them could be what's the saying in the New Age community? Things are speeding up. We have this or that. I don't know if that's true or not. I think it's very individual. I think what's happening now is the end of the old ways. It's done. And we are going through this ray one destruction of the old. Be patient, folks. It's going to take more than 3 months to figure this out. What country are you supposed to hate now? It's ridiculous. When I was growing up, let's hate Cuba. We're going to have a Cuban Missile Crisis. Let's hate Vietnam. Now let's hate Iran. Let's hate China. That's ridiculous. We're all one globe. Sit up at the common line and look down. We're all here. We're like in the fishbowl. And so we're going to get past this. We're going to move past this separation that creates all the angst. And what separates us? Competition? Is competition bad? No, it's not. But how do you use it? And so this is what's changing, and this is the discomfort. Go ahead and protest what bothers you. Protest is wonderful. Go ahead and protest it. Just don't destroy your city, by bombing things because you're angry. That's not a protest. That's destruction. So try to figure it out. There's a lot of help out there, and there are a lot of good guidance out there. There's some good leaders out there too. Wait till you see what comes up. There's wonderful things coming for this planet. We have wonderful leaders that are already here. Not everybody likes them, but they're bringing change that needs to be here. So give it some time, calm down, find something to do. Find something to do. And try to keep yourself more at an even keel of what can I do today to calm myself a little bit. Maybe it's go out and run 5 miles. Maybe it's sit. Maybe it's play with your cat. Maybe it's help your kid with their homework. I don't know. It's not what we're doing, it's the energy field around it.
That makes sense. How does the 3D limitations of time and space interfere with this work?
Well, it's school. We're in this school. And now the popular thing with New Age community, they say, well, we're in the 5th dimension. No. If you have a cold, I doubt you can make that cold go away. And you think you're in the 5th dimension? No. You created a density to where you think you are. That's an abstract idealism. To where, because I think it, then it's real. It's not. You can come in and out of frequency. A density is personal. Dimensions are universal. So I think there's a lot being said that's garbage, that's total bullshit, that makes no sense, that confuses people and tells people you're not right and you can't be practical, because to be practical and be logical and reasonable is boring and it's not spiritual. Well, if you think that mountain isn't real, go run your truck into it and see what's real and what isn't. We need the 3rd dimension. We live within the Saturnian construct of space and time. That's how we transmute energy. That's how we spiritualize matter. As we physically move through that, things change. They begin to sparkle a little bit. But we are in the 3rd dimension. 4th dimension is time. The 5th dimension is probably these downloads. Nobody really knows. Is it quantum? Quantum is the next step, right? But there's a lot beyond quantum. Quantum is the physical explanation that takes you into the 5th dimension and beyond, but there's a lot beyond quantum too. Quantum is what takes us from 3D out there, and it pops in and out. But what's beyond quantum? The heart. That's how the other planets live. That is why on Mars, they're not physical beings. And it's lovely that Elon wants to go to Mars. Go ahead, do your thing. We don't need physical people there because there's nothing there physical. 3 million years ago, they quit being physical. I'm not going to get into that. That's quantum. but it's there. But how do you surpass that? It's through the heart. It's through the love. It's through the silence, that voice of silence. And there's a lot beyond the ability to learn and grow by yourself. That's one of the spiritual paths. The real spiritual path is the Bodhisattva path, where you come here and you quit trying to grow so much, and you look around and go, what can I do to help them? Because if you can help them, that means maybe you're a little more available for the universe to use. You see, it's not popular. We think we're supposed to grow and change, and we're self-centered. We all are. We all are, but we have to try. We have to try to say, what can I do today to make a difference on the planet? And it's not always a personal thing. Many times it's, what did you come here to do? Stay in your lane, do what you do. And by you doing what you do, you don't have to be a codependent caretaker for other people and try to do their job because you don't want to do yours. Doing our job can be the hardest thing out there.
That's the truth. And that connects to what you were talking about before with Ray's work, a greater reality, and how all of this is connected to love and a higher power.
Yeah, it's the mind of God, which is the basis of Ray's work. And the first time I talked to him years ago, we'll talk about this when we get him on, but we realized that, and he had said we were all getting these numerical downloads of all these physics equations. Nobody knew what the hell it was. And it's a language. It's a numeric language that we were so-called all getting. Now, who is all? I don't know. But many of the people, the 40-pound heads that he deals with, the experiencers like myself, many of us were getting that because we are all one field. The point of his work is to teach that the out-of-body experiences, the near-death experiences, the UFOs, as you call them, psychic phenomena, intuition, it's all one field. It's like jumping into a swimming pool. It's all in there. And I think, I haven't discussed this with him because he's going to have a lot of good stuff on it. I think that once we're in that pool, you can access a lot of other these frequencies as well. Not that you need to have a near-death experience, but you have the ability to access that information because all it is information. And I think that's what those numbers were that we were all getting. But we're all one. That's the mind of God. It's the great invocation from the point of light within the mind of God. Let light stream forth from the minds of men. Let light into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. That's some powerful stuff. And that is what he has spent years and years gathering all this information doing. You know, I just work here. I mean, he's like my brother. I love him to death. You know, he's a buddy, but I'm an experiencer. I'm one of these people that experiences it and can't really understand it. You can download his books online for free. A Greater Reality. Search the name Ray Hernandez, ReyHernandez. You can download all his books for free because he is not a greedy guy. He's done all this work. I've known him since before he was doing this, having a brutal time with the realities of life. And so this is doing exactly what he came here to do.
And volume 4 of A Greater Reality has a chapter by you in it. And it's also there.
Me and a lot of other people that are experiencers. I haven't read a lot of that because I was shocked that he put that in there at all. But it's all part of the thing. And why are there so many different people that have so many different experiences? Because we have different ways to attenuate to this big field. That gal I was talking about that was working with ZOLIART, another Linda, I can't remember her last name, but she had an ability to smell things. She would smell a cake baking. She would smell a perfume. She was an amazing physical medium. She had the ability to do that. Other people I've worked with, they are clairaudient. They hear things, but I'm a clairsentient. I feel things. My whole body, I get the image of it. I'm very visual. But this has to do with how, and you and I have discussed this, how we come into be. Some people are great going into the astral realm and they can remember their dreams and go into it. You and Tom have done that, my husband. I'm just a victim in the astral realm. I'm kind of working there, always wondering what the hell I'm doing there. So no, I'm not that evolved in that area. It's not my field. But don't compare yourself to others. Take your field and develop it and become more of who you are. And that is a precious thing because that is what God put you here to do. Stay in your lane. Quit the codependency if you can. Oh my God, that's my bane of civilization. Quit being a helpaholic. Try that and take everything I know. Somebody said this to me once. I love this statement. Zoli, take everything you know and apply it to yourself. Ooh, that's scary. Said that to me at a time, but I had no idea how to do that about 40 years ago. I've gotten better at it, but I'll probably die from this plane and never have gotten there. But so what? You try. But the main thing is to pull in your circle. Pull in your circle and feel and ask for help, because that asking is an effort. And then receiving that help is an effort that you have to receive from them. And there is a them. That is the yin, the yang, and that is what creates that energy field of transmutation.
That's beautiful. Let's finish this discussion with another piece of your artwork and see what you have to say about this one.
To me, I probably did this in the spring. And you see on the outside of it is the cross. I put the equilateral cross, the sign of Christ, in a lot of my work. Because the cross itself, the equilateral cross, the Vatican said that is the cross of the new times. And the reason why it's equilateral is, and this goes way back in theosophy and metaphysics, this vertical stands for God into the earth. This way, it's humanity. Right in the middle is the Christ. And so it's a consciousness of creating an energy field that when those two things come to bear, there is maybe a download, there is consciousness, there's an atom exploding. Who knows? Who knows? But I like to use the leaves a lot to represent a softness and a potential that there is a promise, in the winter, that when the leaves come out, it's a different world every year. And you're not even the same person you were when the leaves weren't on the trees. We are changing and growing and transmuting. It's like an addiction. If you have an addiction to alcohol and you've stopped doing that, when you started that addiction, maybe 40 years ago, you're not even that same person. So you kept doing that same behavior over and over while you were changing, and you're not even that person anymore. You're a new person. You're born again into that. And once again, in that piece, you can see the waveform, the wave patterns. And to me, it's like a lava lamp. It's something that is constantly moving and changing and evolving. And I love that combination of the magenta, the turquoise, and the purple. I use that a lot in my art. It's popping. This is like a crop circle idea of potential of change to me. It's the potential. And we have to grab that and go with it.
Yeah, it really does inspire the imagination to think what new is coming.
Well, we don't really know, do we?
No.
Once I think I have it figured out, no, I don't. I think that when you and I started working on ZOLIART, we really didn't have the vision that we have now for it. We knew that we were doing it and that you and I had what we believe is a sacred contract to bring this out. And it's not about me. It's not about Zoli. It's about this work that I feel that I'm bringing through. Is it channeling? No, that comes from the gut. It has to do with mediation of frequency. This is theosophy to me. This is metaphysics. This is taking things that are out there and bringing them to a point that they can be noticed and talked about. And I hope inspire other people. Find who you are, find your creativity. You don't have to be an artist, you don't have to do this, but things that you're doing, sitting, working with your child, that is creativity. Oh my God. When you go to work, if you're an architect, that's clearly creativity. Well, so is working in a factory. That's creative too. So the repetitive creativity can get a little tiresome, but sometimes that's Earth, that's Saturn, that's teaching, that's persistence. And we have to be persistent. We can try to be patient. God knows I have trouble with that. The reticence is important, but let's just try to bring a little of that waiting in. And while we're waiting for things to straighten out, and they will, this world has a magnificent future coming. It will happen. We will be together. We will be healing disease. We will be healing structures. We will be rebuilding things. It's coming. But right now, this is Ray 1 and it's chaotic. So what? So what? Find something else to do. Do something good.
Great advice. Just keep trying.
Yeah, keep trying. There's nothing really. When we stop trying, we're just this lump in the chair. And that's no good.
Thank you, Zoli.
Thank you, Linda.
And we'll thank everybody for listening. And please reach out with any questions. Contact us at zoliartmontana.com, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Thank you.